Okay, folks, let's see how we're doing here. Don't really know how to work this yet. Let's see here. Let's go to live chat room control. All right, let's check this out here. I don't know whether we're going on or not. Let's see. Here, we'll take a look at that in the meantime. Streaming live. Okay. Let's see where we're going here. Okay, YouTube, I guess we're on here, but it doesn't seem like we are. I can't really tell what's going on here with this live chat. So we're just going to hope for the best here. Let's get out of this thing and we'll come on over to here. Okay. All right, sorry about that, folks. Let's see what's going on here with this. This is really tough on the... all right, sorry about that, folks. Let's see what's going on here with this. Okay. Well, finally. All right. This is really tough on the... all right, sorry about that, folks. Let's see what's going on here with this. Okay. Well, finally. All right. This is really tough on the... all right, sorry about that, folks. Let's see what's going on here with this. Okay. Well, finally. All right. This is really tough on the... all right, sorry about that, folks. Let's see what's going on here with this. Okay. Well, finally. All right. This is really tough on the... all right, sorry about that, folks. Let's see what's going on here with this. Okay. Well, finally. All right. This is really tough on the... all right, sorry about that, folks. Let's see what's going on here with this. Okay. Working on it. All right. This is really tough on the... all right, thanks for the advice here. I hope that's better. Is that better? Let's see what's going on here with this. Okay. And is you with me? Alright, thanks for the advice here. I hope that's better. Is that better? There's quite a little bit of a delay here. Let's see if we can get down to the delay. And there's 7 people watching, which is great. Too much of a delay here. Wow. This is difficult. And there's 7 people watching. Technology is just it's crazy. And I'm trying, but we'll see what happens with this. Okay. Yeah, I'm okay. Let's have a look and see if we can get some other things viewed here. Let's see if we can get over to scene 1 here and call up our guy. This is just to check it out, see what's going on. And I'm going to be checking another channel. I got another computer here too to just try and watch what's going on here. All right, and see what's going on if I can catch on to this. Checking another channel. I got another computer here too to just try and watch. You know, you see these live chats all the time, and you see that people doing really great at it. A lot of practice, I guess. I don't exactly know how they do it, but they do. And well, that's okay. And let's see, I don't see the chat anymore. I guess. See if we can bring this up. There we go. Okay, that's working. All right. So how many people we got? We started streaming 5 minutes ago, and there's only 8 people watching at this time, probably because I'm goofing up so much. but that's all right. So here we got this guy right here, and we're going to be playing with him, ask you questions, and I'll stop and answer them after a while. We're talking about Kyusho today. All right, and Kyusho just means vital point, as most of you know. And what we do with the Kyusho is we develop it in different areas of life. There's many things that we can attribute vital points for. Health is number one on my list. Self-protection, which most martial artists are interested in. Also, working with lots of other things. Right now I'm into the financial markets as well, and the reason being is it's getting crazy out there. And we want to make sure that everybody's safe and in all aspects. Now, let's take a look at this guy here as we're working around. It just doesn't seem like I'm going to be able to work this and see what's going on with your questions. Oh, yeah, you can ask your questions, no problem. Let's take a look at this guy again and work around it. Now, a lot of people are used to working with regular martial arts, and they hit the exterior, and that's what they concentrate on, hitting the head, hitting the neck, the torso, or whatever. In Kyusho, we peel away that top layer. We don't really think about the exterior shell. And what we work with is go into the interior structures, okay, whatever they may be. So when we're working with this, we got to also make sure that, why isn't that showing up? Hold on, I'm sorry. Let's see here, scene one. Yep, we'll work with this guy here for a while. All right, instead of working with the exterior of the shell, striking onto the head, the neck area as well, people in typical martial arts hit this head, hit the body, hit the neck, etc. We look at hitting the interior of the person, the internal anatomy. We work with the muscle groups, working with the muscle spindle cells. We work with the tendons, the Golgi tendons and whatnot. But again, we go even deeper. We don't look so much at the bones, because the bones are a hardened structure that are actually designed to protect the inner anatomy and the more precious anatomy. What we want to do is we want to get past those bones, and that's why we have those 6G hands. All right. Now, when you're working with the 6G hands, you get in between these spaces. Now, these spaces, let's get rid of this, the internal organs a little bit more, and let's get down to what we're really hitting here. We're working with the nervous system. We better pull up the skeleton again and get rid of the lymphatic system. Okay, we're working with the nerve system. And this is really what we're after, is because this is what bases our whole physiology on. We have the nerve system that makes the other systems function, and the blood systems, the digestive systems. And we have to learn how to first get past the muscles and the skeletal area to get into those structures. And that's why those 6G hands are formed, to get into it, and the way they transform as well. Now, we have a question here, and I'm going to pause occasionally from this. Does one attack the trigeminal? How does one attack the trigeminal nerve? It's not deeply hidden. Well, yeah, the trigeminal nerve is quite a bit hidden. First of all, you have an exit here at the mental nerve. We have another one up at the supraorbital, and you got another one deeper inside. And I don't really want to get into all of the aspects of it, but to attack that, you just work with the nerves that I explained, the mental nerve here and the other nerves of the body, supraorbital, as an example. And what that does is it goes right back into the brainstem, into the pons, right back in through here. Let's get rid of that. So we develop this pawns up a little bit more, and I'm going to expand that just a little bit so you guys can see it. It goes right into the pons, which is the brain stem itself, and it controls the person at a much deeper level. So that's how we attack it. You want to attack in the direction of the pons. You want to make sure that that shock goes directly into the nerve. Now, a lot of people will be hitting nerves, like say this fictitious stomach 5 here, and I call it fictitious because the Kyusho is not based on pressure points. It's based on nerves and neurological systems and functionality. It's also working on the blood vessels and the other structures of the muscle spindle cells and the Golgi tendon organs as well. But right now we're going to be working basically with the nerves just for this explanation here. Now, a lot of people are told to strike this down and in at this 45-degree angle. Now, if you do that, that's just fine, okay? And you don't have to hit right at this stomach 5 area. You can hit all along this nerve and catch the same effect. Now, this muscle group here, let's bring those muscles back in here. Okay, you can see that the nerve, you can get to the nerve a little easier because there's less muscle tissue covering it here, but this big masseter muscle right here is really in the way when you're striking it. Now, you can use a G hand, like an iron bone hand, to sharply penetrate that muscle and pinch the nerve right against the skull. All right, and when we do that, okay, let's move this guy down just a little bit so we can see him. There we go. Okay, so the stomach 5, the people are going to be looking at is going to be like right here. All right, and yeah, great, it's a branching of a nerve, but you still have this whole nerve that comes right across, and it goes right up and through here. Now, this is just a little bit of the tissue here. You can see how the nerves lie, and you can see different aspects of it. Now, if we put the muscle back on this, let's get back to the muscle here. You can see how we can get in here just a little bit easier because there's very little muscle structure here. But when we get back in through here, it's a little bit more exposed. But you see this cushion right in through here? That's what stops a lot of the action because that absorbs. And that's why striking down onto the jaw with pinching it directly against the bone is going to be a much better strike. Okay, bringing back the muscles, you can see how it's protected here. So when you're striking onto this mental nerve right in through here, we can see that the axis is very much limited. You can't strike the nerve all the way in the back here. Very hard to get back in through here as well because it's really deeply rooted. As you can see, it comes all along in through here and right into the pons. But that's going to be very difficult to catch. Now let's highlight that and turn this guy around. You can see the mental nerve is coming right back up and through here, and then that's where it ties into the trigeminal nerve right in back here a little bit. So this mental nerve is not the trigeminal nerve, it's actually the mental nerve itself, but it's a break off of that trigeminal. All right, so bring back the muscles again. We can see here that, let's tuck this, you can see how this is protected slightly by the muscle. Okay, and we'll click off that. We'll get off those muscles here. It's protected by this muscle here, which is this muscle right in through here. I'm not even going to bother translating that or trying to pronounce it, but that's how it's protected. So, folks, just ask you questions if you want to keep us going here. This is a test run. This is an introduction. I'm trying to get all the systems down before I go into making it a Bubishi series because I really want to do it justice. So, again, this is just a test. If you have any questions, this is the time to ask them because I need to get a little polished on this system. Not really right now, so ask you questions and I'll answer them for you. But anyway, getting back to it, again, the typical martial artist does not strike the interior. They strike the exterior. And you have to get past these muscles, and you have to get past the structures of the bone as well. So we're attacking inside. Now let's add the vascular tissue as well, because we attack that as well. I've named it in the past dim mak, because in the Bubishi that's exactly what it was called, the dim mak, dim su. There's a lot of different names for it, but it was attacking the blood and the arteries and the veins and the different internal organs. And what we're doing is we're, again, getting to those important vascular tissues in the dim mak or the Kyusho. Kyusho works both of them. We work only with the nerves for the most part in the beginners sections, and we get a little bit more involved with the blood later because it's more dangerous. The nerves are more superficial, as they're designed in part to protect the vascular tissue. Now, getting rid of this, we can see how everything is protected. The whole body is like with a mesh of nerves, and they typically run right with the veins in the arteries as well. And that, again, is to protect it, because the nerves will take an input and they will make a withdrawal reflex on the body. And you're working to protect if the body's working to protect itself, it's going to have that withdrawal reflex to pull the vein or the artery or the organ, like the heart, for example, pull that heart out of the way, and to make sure that everything is safe. Now, if we take a look a little bit lower, you have more accessible targets too. Now, the heart is protected. The liver is not. The liver goes right underneath the rib cage, as you can see. Most people, when they hit the diaphragm here and call it the solar plexus, they think they're hitting the solar plexus, but the solar plexus is actually way back here in back of the spine. And let's get rid of these organs here for a second, and let's zoom in a little bit. We'll get rid of the blood sections as well. And let's see if we can find it. Now, the solar plexus it's underneath the sheath right in through here, but it's a plexus of nerves that's deep against the spine. So you're not really, when you hit here, you're not hitting the solar plexus because it's way, way in the back. And let's bring in the organs once again. Here in the vascular tissue, you can see how everything is starting to protect that solar plexus, so you're not going to get it, and you can't get it from the back, obviously, because it's working against the bone here. Again, a protective device. But working with the nerves that come between the bones, that's what we're after, and that's what's going to make the Kyusho that much more effective, is that it's working the inner man, not the outer man. And whereas most martial arts attack the outer persona and working against the body and the muscle groups and just working against the strengths and the protectors of nature. Okay, now I have another question here. Can you show us the area related to the gallbladder cluster? Yeah, sure. Let's go up to the gallbladder cluster. Wrong arrow here. Again, all these tools here. This tool is not free, but it's really inexpensive. It's great. It's Human Anatomy Atlas 2017 edition. So let's see here. Now, I am on a time delay, so I'm talking ahead of what I see popping up on the live stream. Gallbladder cluster, as they call it, up and through here. Again, the terms the people give it are kind of funny, but you have some nerves right here. So let's take away the muscle, okay, and let's zoom in just a little bit. We'll get this guy going down here. Again, this is an invaluable tool. And let's see, yeah, this has the main nerves. It's not going to have the more superficial or the finer nerves. Let's get rid of the skull here, yep, and the blood systems. And you can see how this is not really showing the very fine nerves that are working here. Let's get the skull back. We have that. Okay, we don't even have, for example, the supraorbital nerve, which is part of the gallbladder cluster. You have the supraorbital nerve that comes right up here. There's another branch that comes right up and through here. Let's see if we can go to the website here and get into, let's see here, I'll go to my account, we'll take a look at the charts. Alright, and we'll go to the facial nerves here. Let's see here, what facial nerve are we going to work with, or what are we going to work with on the head here? Stomach, meridian, gallbladder, what we have, the pericardium, liver, gallbladder, 13, 14, 15. Alright, and this is the charts that you're going to be working with. Alright, now this here is, as we take a look at this, again, people, I'm working on several different platforms here, and several devices, so bear with me. Let's peel away the skin. Here we get down to the muscles. Now I'll keep those circles up. These are the pressure points, the gallbladder 13, 14, and 15, or also known as the gallbladder cluster. So let's see. I'm taking a look at this, and let's see if I can get the screenshot. Yeah, here we go. All right. Let's see if we can get back into this now, and I'll just watch on the other computer as it delays. Now it is a 60-second delay for me, so this is kind of strange. I have to cut that delay off. It gives me a better chance to answer people here. But let's see, get back into here and wait for that to pop up. Yep, I was working on the screen, and let's see here. There we go. All right, getting into the gallbladder cluster here. Now we can't really zoom into this too well, but you can see the superficial, the supraorbital nerve that would exit right in through here. Now let's bring up the, got rid of the muscle here. We got the nerve. Let's tailor that down just a little bit. And then we can see vascular tissue we don't need. The skeleton be good to see as well. So you can see that those target areas are right there, and these are on the two supraorbital nerves that come right up from the eye socket itself. And they come up, and you can hit all these branches in here, so you don't have to be really like on target. I mean, you've got all this nerve structure here. So if you strike it the correct way and it's down and into the head, so you do the neurological shock down into the nerve, into the brain itself, that's what we're working with the gallbladder cluster. So you're striking it down. Now most people will strike and they skip up off the top, and yeah, you get a sort of a nerve shock because you're striking the nerves. But if the nerves end here and they go all the way into the brain underneath the eye socket, wouldn't it be better if you're attacking the brain to hit down and into the structure to send the shock down into the brain rather than away from the brain? And again, if you hit your funny bone, you'll feel that it has that difficulty. You have the pain, you have the problems that ensue from it, the dysfunction, the hopping around and screaming, but that's when you hit it just correctly. If you hit it in another direction, you don't usually feel it. So that's what we're working on here with the gallbladder cluster. And I hope my arrow here, it doesn't look like it's popping around too easily. Yep, okay. So I had it out of the sync, so I'm sorry about that, folks. Will this be recorded as the next question? It'll be permanent on the YouTube site unless I erase it because it's just too messy, and a bad first showing, but we'll try that again. So yeah, we'll be trying this again. I'm just trying to get this back down. Okay, so I can see now that on my other computer that this live delay showing the gallbladder cluster at work, and when I play this back later, we'll see what was going on. So again, I'm 60 seconds delay, and it's throwing my brain off quite a bit, but that's the explanation on the gallbladder cluster. So if you stop thinking about the pressure points and we start thinking more about the nerves and the underlying structure of the human body rather than the superficial face and the skin and just hitting the head, the neck, the legs, hitting someone in the groin, yeah, that directly connects into the nerves. So my question is, if a martial artist believes that striking into the groin to attack the groin's nerves is such a wonderful target, how come then they do not understand that hitting into the nerve structures or learning how to hit the nerve structures correctly is a more effective and efficient way? It's like hitting someone in the stomach compared to hitting them in the groin. Are you hitting the protective systems of the stomach? Okay, or are you hitting the nerve structures of something like the groin, which doesn't have a muscle protection on it? All right, so that's the way you've got to think about it. And you also have to think about it as Kyusho is more like a knife. Okay, it's more like a knife, and martial arts are more like a stick. Typically, we take a fist and we'll punch the person again on the exterior of the person, and we'll be working against the skin. We'll be working against the muscle. In some areas, we'll be working against the bone. So learning to get around it, that's what Kyusho is about. Getting past these protectors, nature's protectors, and working with that to get into the structure to shut down the human organism or cause a loss of functionality, a loss of muscle control, a loss of consciousness. Now, consciousness, okay, it's based on neurological shock. The body, again, has protective systems, much like it does with the vascular tissue. Now, the vascular tissue, when it's under attack, lowers the blood pressure, all right, and that causes the person to have what's called the vasovagal syncope, in which case the person faints, and the body is put down in a prone position. Now, that prone position is to allow the blood flow to get regulated back up to the brain, because when the blood pressure drops, there's not enough pressure to push the blood up into the brain or around the limbs and whatnot. So the body gets into a laying process, or a laying down via the fainting, to make sure that the blood is reaching all the vital areas, such as the brain. So that is what causes a blood pressure attack. All right, but to avoid the blood being attacked, the body has, again, the nerves, which will cause the withdrawal reflex to pull the body away from those deeper targets and more serious targets of the blood. Now, the veins can also be punctured. They can also be ripped. They can be sealed. You don't know what condition the internal veins and the arteries look like. If they're coated with plaque from a lifetime of bad eating or just hereditary, and you seal it, you could cause a blood clot, and that could be dangerous, or seal something very seriously. Now, I also went into a target right down into the clavicle, and we were talking about this in the most recent Seiyuchin video that was crowdfunded and only available to those people that crowdfunded it for a period of a year until I release it to online streaming and or Budo International for that. So what we're doing is we're looking at deeper targets. Sorry, I got off track because my other computer is doing something strange. But that clavicle attack, for example, we were talking about the nerves first in that, and we also talked about the arteries that are coming up in through here, subclavian artery and the subclavian vein right in through here. Now the arteries, what they're doing is they're bringing the blood from the heart up into the brain, and then the veins bring the blood back. Now, there's a subsection of the subclavian artery that brings the blood up to the brain. But if you pinch the artery down here with a lot of severity, what's going to happen is you're going to cause the body to drain the blood from the brain. So if you hit someplace down and through here as example, or even in through the arm, and I have a personal experience with that I'll describe in a second. But what it does is it drains the blood from the brain and it causes the fainting. Now, one of my first Kyusho, my first actual Kyusho real experience was being assaulted. I was approached. I've told this story many times, so it's not a surprise to many. That I was approached by 3 drunk individuals one day, and one of them reached out toward me, and I did my my punch to his bicep right in through here, clipped an artery, made him fall to the ground first of all from the pain. He was throwing up and passed out. The other 2 people, seeing this, decided to leave. Great friends, but I'm glad they left because who knows what could have happened. But knowing that this area down and through here, when punched, caused the physical dysfunction of the person, caused the unconsciousness of the person, and caused a deeper autonomic system reflex like throwing up. That's pretty important instead of just trying to punch them in the body or the head, which most people can take. Even the drunk person, you hit a drunk person in the body as an example, and they can take those punches pretty good. Hit them in the head, sometimes they get too dizzy and they will drop because the head is dizzy because of the drugs or the alcohol that they're on. You start hitting these internal structures and it bypasses some of the protections. Now, when you're under alcohol, as example, what happens is the nerve system shuts down a little bit. So working with the blood system is even better than working with the nerve systems on a drunk individual. So you have to look at what the person is on and respond to that person, if you know it. Okay, that's what the study of Kyusho is about. And it's getting deeper into the body. All right, now we have another question that just popped up, because I'm just rambling here, like I said, as an experiment. Can the single blade of grass hand access the clavicular blood area? Yes, of course it can. And let's get the muscles back on this guy for an example. All right, and let's zoom in. All right. So what we have here is we've got this area right in through here that is rich in nerves and blood, okay? And we have the muscle tissue that's in the way, and again, in part for protection, okay? But it's also for mobility and everything else that you would equate the muscles with. But this protective shield really does help. Now, I want to get to the vascular tissue behind there. And there's some great vascular tissue behind there, as you can see. You've got the arteries, you've got the veins, and you've got some very important nerves right in through here, like the phrenic nerve and the vagal nerve and whatnot. So let's get the muscles back on here. Okay, see how that gets protected? Okay, and let's zoom out just a little bit here. This is all protecting the area. So now the 3 fingers of the single blade of grass hand is, let's see if I can get this here working. I can't tell if this is happening or not on your screen, but you have the single blade of grass hand. Now people will tend to hit with this finger, okay, striking like this on the surface. But that's not exactly how you want to use the single blade of grass hand. Yes, you can have a very penetrating attack with that, but the reality of it in this area around the neck is going to be to use the fingers that are closing as a clawing type of an action. Okay, and then you can go in with this penetrating or piercing tool right in through here. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we separate these with the clawing action by taking those fingers and peeling away this muscle and exposing behind the muscle, so we can now poke in with that extended finger to get into that vascular tissue. So again, let's get rid of these muscles here. So if I peeled away all the blood and I stuck my finger directly into this area here unprotected, you're going to see that I'm going to be able to very easily pierce the arteries and the veins, and also to attack these vital structures of the nerves, like the phrenic nerve. So that's how you would attack it with that. Now you could do this from the frontal position. If you're working in close, you can get it from the front. From the back, you would use more of an iron claw to separate these muscles. Let's get the muscles back on. To separate the muscles, or try to dig your fingers in behind those and compress the arteries and the nerves and the veins back in through there. Okay, and there's other areas. If you watch a lot of my videotapes, you've seen many different attacks for that sort of hand position. So again, folks, this was just a test, and I'm going to wait a few seconds, see if there's any more questions that I might be able to answer for you. So I want to thank you for tuning in here, and let's see how many people actually showed up in through here. It doesn't say anymore how many people are tuned in. I thank you all that have asked your questions. I want to thank you for those questions. And since there's no more coming up, I'm going to say goodbye and end the session. And as soon as I take a look at this video and get into exactly what I was doing and how to make it a little bit better, I surely will be on with the Bubishi series. I'm going to pick apart the different keys that I found in the Bubishi. I'm going to explain how they work with the different structures in that book and the different articles that are in that book. And ask you questions. So I'm not going to be typing on this. Just ask the questions. I have the people that are saying they've got a question, but don't ask it. Don't ask me if you can ask one. Just fire it away and I'll answer it. Because again, we're on a delay and I'm going to be shutting this down pretty soon. But once I figure out this thing, I want to get deeper into the Bubishi. Now, in the current Bubishi, the newest edition by Patrick McCarthy, Hanshi Patrick McCarthy, I do have about 3 or 4 pages explaining the different structures and the Kyusho in there. And, okay, there's the question. I'll answer that in 1 second. I urge you to get that newest edition of Hanshi McCarthy's Bubishi. It's better than most of them because it's got more information. Now, there have been many editions of this, and I've bought them all because they change. Some things are left out, some things are added in. Different people that are asked to do some writings for it, whether it be a foreword or, as in my case, a preface for one of the articles in the Bubishi. So there's valuable input from so many places, but this recent one seems to be the most comprehensive and the most complete to date. And it goes into those structures. But anyway, I'm going to be doing the Bubishi system breakdown on that in these chats. Again, if I can figure out how to stop this delay, because man, this is like just crazy. But we're going to be getting deep into the body. So the question is, how does the blood pool hand attack the eyes? Well, there's several different ways the blood pool hand can attack the eyes. And let me get back out to my screen and through here and see here, so I can do a little bit more of an explanation. Okay, so you have the blood pool hand that's shaped like this, and a lot of people are attacking with the fingers in a pecking type of an action. And that's great if you've trained your fingertips and you really like work on the finger strength with it, or you're attacking into some other structures like the supraorbital notch right down and through here, supraorbital notch, the clavicular space right in through here. Let's get rid of this muscle once again to get into these arteries. The Weichi-Ryu Sensei rule, for example, they have the targeting. It's done with the right hand, and they typically target right over and through here, but either side will work in through here. All right, so what we want to do is we want to make sure that when you're using this blood pool hand, you could poke at the eye, and that's fine. But what happens when you jab an eye, you don't cause a vasovagal response. What happens is you instead you cause the withdrawal reflex. Now that withdrawal reflex is again a protector. And yeah, it hurts like hell and you can't see, and of course it causes physical dysfunction because of that. But the sharpness of that action causes also the withdrawal reflex, which protects the body. Now when you strike the whole eye, okay, catching in through here with the back of the hand and hitting in, and hitting and compressing the whole eye, not getting the reflex, because you got to remember, anytime something goes in your eye, there's an instant flinch, the eye closes, and you have that withdrawal away from the attack. And that's what happens with that sharp penetrating attack. But a blunted attack works better to attack the eye because it works against the optic nerve, and it also works into the vasovagal system. Okay, and it attacks and it makes sure that your blood pressure drops and causes the faint. Now, I don't like to hit the eye so much with the blood pool hand. I like to hit it with the back of my hand, or the iron sword, or even the iron bone hand, because I can get more accuracy with the front of my hand than I can get with the back of my hand. And hitting backwards, you have that turning action that you have to do before you thrust forward rather than just coming forward. So you've diluted your actions. Now, the 6G hands, by the way, and the wind hands, and I'm writing a blog on this that will appear shortly on Kyusho.com. But the attack with the wind hands. Now, the wind, or the G, wind hands, G hands, the energy or wind, both in the same thing for me. The transition of power is not ballistic power through the arm and the muscles and having a bunch of antagonistic muscles work against each other as your attack goes out. It's a more direct flicking of the tool into the target. Same thing with the blood pool hand coming up or in. So that's one way to attack with those, and again, that explanation will come a little bit later. Let's go back into this here for a second and see what's going on. You have the eye socket right in through here. We have some blood structures, as we can see. Let's get this out of here, and let's pull this thing up so I can see what's going on. Sorry about this again. Playing with new tools is always difficult. There we go. Okay. So we have these blood systems, as you can see around here, but the eye, again, is related to the blood system and the nerve. So if I use the blood pool hand, and we'll get back over here for a second. If I use the blood pool hand and as an example, come up underneath, so the back of my hand right in through here is compressing the whole eye, not a sharp penetration thing, but a flat, blunt strike into the eye as the knuckles are hitting up under the supraorbital nerves, and you have the two branches of the supraorbital nerves there as well. And let's see if I still have the gallbladder cluster up and through here. You have these two branches of the supraorbital nerve, and are we even on with that? Yeah. You have these two branches of the supraorbital nerve right in through here that we're working on. And Let's see. Jeez, this delay is killing me. All right, so that's another way to attack it. So anyway, I'm sorry I'm all over the place here, folks. And again, this is new technology for me, so it's a little bit strange that what I'm experiencing here with you. But we'll be again doing these. Hopefully, I can get a little bit more practice on this. I don't know exactly how in this streaming. I think I'm trying to get too sophisticated, using too many tools rather than just one tool. But again, I want to thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Years.